Don says in question 7, thank you. I'm sure that we are getting into an area of problem with the first distortion here, and also with a difficulty in a bit of transient material here. But I have 2 questions from people that I'll ask, although I consider especially the first one to be of no lasting value. Andrija, or Andrija, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Puharich, asks about coming physical changes, specifically this summer. Is there anything that we could relay to him about that? Planetary changes. What is Ra going to say here? You know they don't like talking about this. Ra says, we may confirm the good intention of the source of this entity's puzzles and suggest that it is a grand choice that each may take to, by desire, collect the details of the day, or, by desire, to seek the keys to unknowing. I should have cheated on this question and go back to my conversation with Gary, because I know he mentioned something about this. But it's interesting. Yes. So this is 1982, actually, not in 1981, as I mentioned before. This is 1982, and there is a lot of channeling going on and people talking about doomsday and so on. Carla and Jim have talked about this in the commentary in their preface of each session in which they had personal material, book 5. And yeah, there is this seeking for transient information. Don was totally aware of what this information was. It was transient, it was useless, at least in the direction that Ra wanted to talk about. So this is one of the reasons why this is not one of the reasons, well, it's one of the reasons, yeah, why I was attracted, obviously, to the mystical teachings of Ra. What do they mean by becoming one? What do they mean by polarizing, by raising the Kundalini, and all these things? These are mystical paths to liberation, enlightenment. And when you compare that to, let's know what's going to happen this summer so we can be prepared, that is such a lower energy center preoccupation. So you can see that Ra was not interested in this. Now, planetary changes happen in the summer, people talking about all of this. Ra says, in essence, this guy, Andrija Puharich, he's a good guy. You know, he's a good guy. But there is a grand choice that each may take by desire. Collect the details of the day, meaning whatever you learn outside, and somebody tell you this is happening, that's happening, or I was recently told, so here in, and I used to be into conspiracy theories and so on, not so much the UFOs. I had the raw material by when the time came for me to get into UFOs, so I was easily able to discriminate between nonsensical material. I did buy into some of the planets that fly every, I don't know how many thousand years, Planet X or Nubian or whatever it is, and the Anunnaki and all these things. I mean no offense to the people that enjoy this kind of information, but I just found it completely irrelevant in my own path, which, again, we talked about paths. See, that doesn't mean that everybody should be this way. Some people are interested in this stuff, and that's their path. That's okay. But yeah, I was interested in conspiracy theories and so on. So, of course, now and then I hear something that kind of triggers an old thought pattern, but it doesn't create an emotional reaction. And I'll give you an example. As of recording right now, I think, I haven't checked, but the wildfires in Canada now, bear in mind that I live in Pennsylvania, which is very close to Canada, and some people who live in the Northeast, at least, I don't know about the Northwest, have been reporting and seeing this obvious dark skies. Like the smoke seems to be affecting the air quality, and also it looks very disturbing, right? It looks very disturbing to go outside and it's a sunny day and the sun looks orange and all the light of the sun is dissipated through these particles. And I started having breathing problems because I have asthma. Not a big deal, but something that I would say like, okay, yeah, something definitely it's in the air. So all these things, I thought it was interesting, and I said, wow, what a small world this is. Canada's burning, and we can feel the impact here. And somebody, I can't remember who said this to me, but they said, oh, they're saying that this is the government doing an experiment on people with the air pollution and I don't know what else. And you get this trigger. It's almost like a reminder of how you used to react to these things. Farmers have also, one specific farmer has told me, oh, the government is causing this and that. And that one I believe a little bit more because, yeah, the government or those at power, the elite, which we know, lackeys of the Orion group, or those who simply want to polarize negative, are doing everything to maintain control, power, manipulation, and so on. But yeah, I am not moved by this anymore. Now, why? You see, this is collecting the details of the day, right? You collect all the details of the day. And what do you do with it? You're going to become paranoid. You're going to feel scared. You're going to feel, what are the feelings that you're having? And this is something that you need to be fully honest with yourself. Do I feel empowered? Do I want to do something about it? And it makes me feel good, like happy and determined and so on. Well, great. Yeah. But if there's a little bit of fear in your assimilation of this, maybe you should consider. Maybe you should consider why you're feeling that way. So, yeah, that's one way. Now, Ra gives another option when these type of information is given to us. They say, by desire, seek the keys to unknowing. Does this mean I don't want to know anything? Unknowing? Does this mean I am going to ignore things and reject when people talk to me about whatever because I want to be this blank slate? I don't think so. I don't think that's Ra's approach. They're not a mystical teacher for nothing. Unknowing is a very well aspect of the mystical path, which is to understand that you don't know anything. And plus, you don't have to know anything because everything, you are not separate from reality. And here's where the mystical teachings actually help to understand and assimilate this type of information. Or simply, not even assimilate the information, just be interested in the unknown. You see, be interested in that which cannot be known, and that's the mystical path. That which cannot be known is you. There is nothing that can be that can't be known that is not you. The only thing that you cannot know is yourself. And so if you follow this path, and this is what I obviously gravitated towards in my teachings, is to go to that place of unknowing. That's what Ra is saying. Why? Well, I can report to you my changes. The more I became interested in this path of knowing myself, the essence of who I am, which is not a mind, it's not a body, it's not activity, it's not any of this. The more I got into that, the less important all these things became. Not even 3 years ago, I was still sort of involved in the whole elite conversation and what they're doing and how we can be prepared and so on. But once I took this path seriously or sincerely, I simply don't care. And people approach me because some people know me and they talk about these things, and I just give them my honest answer, which is, yeah, that's possible. And how do you feel about that? That should trigger, I feel awful because I'm being manipulated and so on. I'm a victim of reality is what we say. I am a victim of reality. So if you're inclined to the mystical teachings, then isn't that a good sign for you to recap your life and say, hold on, I'm feeling victimhood here. Who is the victim? But yeah, this is a long conversation. I don't mean to go on a full tangent on the mystical path of knowing yourself so you can be liberated from this mind.